Hello, everyone, and welcome to Colorful Pixels, the show where I talk to the people behind the pixels. I'm your host, Carmen Askernes, and today I'm joined by Rob Bowen. Hi, Rob.
Hello. Great to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you so much for being here. So, Rob and I kind of go way back, and we worked together previously, and we haven't caught up in a while. And so this is kind of like a catch up for us. And it's also a chance to tell your story, Rob. So I guess I want to start off by saying, like, do you remember a moment in your life where you felt like you knew that you wanted to make video games?
Oh wow. Great question. Yeah. So for me, I started playing games on Atari 2600 and, old games on that platform, and then the NES and Mario, and worked all the way up to current gen. But I would say the first time when I thought, man, I could really enjoy making this, or I would love to explore this space more as an adult, I think was playing Mario Brothers 3 on the
Oh, nice.
NES. So that was kind of like the gateway for me, that sort of sparked something that I felt was something to strive after, and something that excited me, that I could challenge myself to play it and complete it, and it felt fulfilling when I did.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share that feeling with other people, and kind of make that something into the world if I could.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you remember like what was sort of your first game? You said the Atari was your one of your first consoles.
Yeah. So I want to say it was I'm forgetting the name, but it's Jungle. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the actual name, but it was a platform jungle game where you essentially had to traverse a river, and there was like crocodiles, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I played it with my aunt Jeannie,
Oh,
and she just had it lying around. I must have been, gosh, 7 years old,
oh.
playing down with her. And yeah, that was sort of the very beginning, and I was able to, you know kind of sharpen my skills, my reaction times, and get better and progress in the game a bit. But I didn't really fully embrace gaming until the NES, where I started kind of competing with my brother for time and screen time, and who's controller, who's up next, sort of thing. But
Oh, man. Was that the game? I feel like I'm vaguely remembering an old game where you are like a pixelated person in the jungle, kinda looking like Tarzan.
yeah,
It's like the crocs with their mouth, you have to swing on
yeah,
vines? Okay.
yeah. Oh my goodness, I got to look it up now. It's it's uh it's gonna bother me that I don't have that, but we can continue, and I'll
Yeah.
I'll bring up the
I
game
was
for
just like,
sure.
I know that game, but I don't remember what it's called. Let us know in the comments if you know.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Did your aunt, like, and your other family members, were they really into games also?
Oh, it was Jungle Hunt.
Jungle
Ju-
Hunt. Okay.
Jungle Hunt. Yeah, that's the game. Yeah.
I gotta go
Um.
back and play that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just kind of pixelated characters doing their thing, trying, almost like Frogger, trying to get across the highway, but it was with crocodiles on a river and stuff like that. So yeah,
The
that's the
poor goats
earliest.
and then the crocodiles.
Yeah. Uh,
That's funny. But what were your family, like, really into games, or was this just, like, kinda something that was just around the house?
so not so much. My dad played Dr. Mario on the NES, and he was pretty good. He was able to complete, multiple levels in that game, and was
Uh-huh.
actually pretty quick with rotating the little pills and whatnot, make columns and clear them out. And yeah, he kind of got into that one when we were younger. This is probably, I don't know, 10 years old, something like that. And that's about it though. My aunt Jeannie, yeah, she had the Atari 2600. She introduced me to a couple PC games like King's Quest, and older games like that. And yeah, I played Myst on her PC when that first came out,
Whoa.
and I grew up, you know, pretty darn poor, so we didn't have, you know, a lot of electronics around the house necessarily. I saved my like tin can money that I would collect, aluminum can money to actually get the NES for myself and my brother, and it took about a year of just like saving up can money, but we got it. So,
Oh
but
man,
yeah, my brother is into some games. He played Stardust HD on the PS3
what's
for
that?
whatever
I don't even know
reason.
what that is.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like a kind of bullet hell chaos game.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, you just play a ship and shoot asteroids and little alien aircraft and whatever. Use power ups, things like that. But
Oh, cool. Okay.
yeah, and my sister does game on Xbox right now. She plays a couple things like COD, and she'll her and I will play uh, uh, Sea of Thieves
Oh
together.
man, that game is
And
so fun. Yeah,
yeah,
my friends and I play that too.
yeah. So we got some examples. I'm definitely the, you know, probably the most habitual with gaming though, I would say.
It sounds like it's been a part of your life ever since you were a little kid.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just really fortunate that way, and kind of found a passion pretty young in life, and kind of stuck with it, and uh, enhanced it again through education and just experiences, and you know, moving out to the West Coast, and you know, finding the opportunities to kind of explore that area and kind of go after that passion. So
Was that when you
very
were in high
fortunate.
school, did you know that was a career you could have of being a game developer?
So for me, I went to a technical school. I went to the Green Mountain Technology Center, and I
Okay.
studied multimedia and design there. And that was sort of my second passion is film and videography, cameras. I'm a huge optics nerd and camera sensor nerd, and I really wanted to learn how to make videos and edit videos, and it was all sort of in the same vein though for me creatively to work in film and work in videography, but also have video games as almost like a close cousin to
Uh-huh.
that. And the technology center didn't have any courses in game development or like coding or anything like that, but they did have courses around like Photoshop and how to do basic edits with Premiere Pro, and you know, that got me into that sort of area, I would say, of creativity and expressing myself and telling stories, and ultimately it culminated in going to film school and becoming an intern for Electronic Gaming Monthly and the website oneup.com,
Oh,
doing all their
wow. That's
video
a
stuff.
throwback.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I was like when magazines were, you know, still really prominent around game culture, and yeah, it was a great marriage, you know, video storytelling about video games. And so it was kind of like this cool way of doing both that has led me here. So yeah, yeah,
Wow. That's so cool. I remember when I was in, like, middle and high school, there I took a class similar to what you were saying, and, like, they were teaching us Photoshop and After Effects, I think, and I
nice.
was like, "I don't need to know this stuff because 'cause I'm gonna make video games." But looking back on it, I'm like, "Those skills are so important."
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I still just uh can't believe, you know, going through the video side of things and the editorial side first on games led to more of the direct creative influence roles that I've had. And um yeah, those tools like Photoshop, all the creative suite, all the Adobe stuff has just continued to pay dividends, you know, learning that, indexing around that, and being able to express a creative idea visually is, you know, just one of those things that if you can do it, it's gonna help you out throughout your career in games for sure.
Big time. Do you when you were working with the magazine, was that, like, around the time when like G4 was still a thing?
Yep. Yeah, that
Oh
was
man.
yeah, Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb, and yeah, that was definitely still a thing. Ziff Davis Media, I want to say, owned a couple shows that were very akin to G4, doing their own versions of tech shows and games review shows, and that was the owning parent company of OneUp.com, and
Oh.
they owned Games for Windows, Electronic Gaming Monthly, PC Gamer magazine, and gamevideos.com, and just a whole bunch of these young sort of .com-y websites and properties. And they did a huge restructuring in 2008 when things sort of went nuts with Wall Street. But yeah, definitely in that area of time
Oh
where
man.
you had,
I
you know,
remember like game culture was kind of everywhere, but it wasn't cool like it is now.
yeah, yeah,
It was really niche. But I remember just like being subscribed to all the magazines and watching G4 after school and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's
yeah.
so cool.
Oh my god, yeah. Me too. I was hooked to that stuff. I would watch MLG.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love
Doing
MLG, yeah.
just old Halo broadcasts, and just cool stuff like that. Very very early esports sort of competition stuff, and G4 TV, and yeah, that was definitely my safe space, I would say, from like reality, and I would just kind of go in and zone out on cool game news, and um, that was when you would get cool demo discs in the
Yeah,
magazine.
like from Pizza
Y-
Hut or anywhere, yeah.
yeah, yeah. PlayStation Magazine would just give you a disc with your magazine purchase, and you pop that thing in, and there we go.
Man, those are the
Um,
days.
yeah,
I feel so
yeah.
old now. I'm like, "Oh, back in my day, yeah."
Yeah. They would give us an actual disc. Yeah. Um,
Did you ever think that you'd want to go more on the, journalism side or, like, more on the video production side since you had an interest in film also, or did you know you wanted to be more on the, like, development side?
um, so I started so after the 2008 sort of crash with everything and Ziff Davis, and I started in video doing the One Up show and things like that. But in 2008 I started my own production company all around video game culture.
What?
And
Oh, that's so
we did
cool, I
a
didn't know that.
yeah, it's called Area 5 Media. It's still running in San Francisco right now, and it's still about gaming culture. And we did a show called Co-op that again was about emergent games, reviews, criticism, and making sure that we were giving kind of an unbiased, truthful, everyday person's perspective on new cool games. And so I sort of check the box off a little bit with that venture of the editorial side, and I felt like, yeah, okay, I've spoken about games, and I've been in this journalism side. What more can I do? And uh, that was the point I went back to school. I went and got a master's degree in management information systems and an MBA, and wanted to understand more about the business side of actually making the games and how to directly influence them and create the software behind them. And so that was like a turning point for me where I knew that I could organize projects, and I knew I could uh, collect ideas and get things across the finish line from a creative side. And I did that through editorial for almost 7 years at that point. And it just became apparent, like, hey, why don't you get into the actual dev side of it a little bit more, and get some more education around that, get some coding experience, learn some more tools. Up to that point, I'd never used Excel,
Whoa.
and so I was just like, sort of a very creative minded individual that was, not really familiar with the tools necessary for organizing sort of the more technical side. And So getting that education and then starting with Microsoft in 2014 was sort of a big step for me towards the development side. Even though that specific role of Microsoft was through creative and video, I was able to work with them on some sort of skunkworks projects around camera tools that needed a project manager to essentially run the requirements gathering, run all of the deliverables and features, and make sure that we were accountable and actually able to get into a release. And it was, yeah, it sort of was a natural progression for me to kind of go into the more technical side, um, from that creative side. So yeah, to answer your question, it's um, you know for me, going in and helping to produce a game and create the framework for it from a strategy and an organizational standpoint is really fulfilling. And I'm still able to bring in a lot of creativity through that process too, which is the best, because I'm not just one side brain versus the other all the time. It's a combination of things for me. So I really am appreciative of being a producer and getting to flex both sides and work towards a finished product.
Wow. You know, I think that's really incredible that you kind of made that shift from the editorial side into the development side. And I also didn't know that we had in common of like sort of starting our own business in the like editorial space. That's
Oh,
how I got
really?
my start also is like G4 had
Nice.
went away and I wanted to make something in the similar vein. And I made this show called Heads Up Display. My friends and I would like go to midnight premieres and interview developers and all that kind of stuff. Cause I was like, I
Nice.
don't know how to make games, but I know how to make a TV show. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah, that's so cool.
That's
I didn't
really
know we had that in
cool.
common. Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, so when you made the shift and you were on the development side of things, were there aspects of editorial or like video production that you missed? And how has that like changed as your career has progressed?
Yeah. So I would say I've always wanted to have some sort of access and influence on the actual creative elements if I can. If my role can extend that far, then that's amazing. And I feel like my evolution through the Halo franchise and my time with Microsoft, the 5 years I spent there, was purely, it started as non-linear video content and became much more technical as things progressed, where I took on little side projects, like I said, with the camera tools and camera controls and things like that. But also it became more organizationally focused as well, with encyclopedia entries and file formats and things like that that were not necessarily in the creative side and that sort of editorial side. It was more organizational. It was more prescriptive and something that could be measured in an iterative way. And yeah, it definitely expanded, and I was really happy to see that. And it ultimately culminated in esports, where it was this absolute melding of two worlds of video and broadcast production, but also working with the technical teams on things like latency and feature sets for esports and observer modes and feature sets to support more advanced gameplay and competition within the game client itself. And that was that was great. I was able to sort of still be both had my I could hold a camera if I wanted to at a show and like shoot some B-roll or something. But I would also, be back at the studio working with our testing team on various features and trying to get down to the nitty-gritty of the competition within the client itself to support future features and development cycles. And yeah, I still appreciate getting my hands dirty and like being able to work in specific creative tools and be able to support the team visually if they need that support, while I'm also doing longer lead strategy and planning and scheduling and things like that.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
I feel like it's kinda hard to see it while it's happening, but you all were kind of inventing some of those tools because it makes me think about modern esports and broadcasting and, like, even having a spectator or a camera mode in the game so there can be someone
yeah,
capturing the action. It didn't exist back when we were, like, watching Arena and other stuff like that. They were literally
yeah,
filming the screen, so it's like you were
yeah.
making something that's a new genre now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the whole in the Halo 5 engine in specific, the last remnants, the slip space engine, it was quite a feat of dexterity to understand the camera controls and the nuances behind some of the features that we built in the camera controls. So I was teaching different observers how to manually function, certain zoom lenses and change depth of field, work with different pathing splines and things like that. And um, yeah, it was a very cool melding and sort of new thing that we were working on that no one had really knew how to do yet. And yeah, it was really fulfilling that way to be able to kind of make these technical camera tools and um teach folks that actually had a lot more in-depth gameplay knowledge than I did and
Mhm.
strategy, or like former pro players, how to like capture in the game and like observe for all of our artistic and production needs. And yeah, it was a really cool time.
Oh, man. So, okay, I have a question that's a little bit of a tangent, but I'm just curious to pick your brain a little bit. So,
Yeah.
as we've sort of seen esports and sort of like the different genres of entertainment, from sports to games to film to TV start to merge, and we've sort of seen the line disappear between the different mediums. What's something that you would like to see in the future or that you think might happen in the future as the mediums continue to merge even more so?
Let's see. You know, I was watching have you ever watched drone racing?
No.
Okay, well, it's awesome. It's very dynamic, there are it's a race. So, you understand the objective kind of right off the bat of like, oh, well, you cross the finish line first. And but the controls and the headsets that are worn for me just brought up all these feelings of esports and of like this is totally something that we could do in a game client in a much more immersive way. And then I was also, have you ever watched competitive tag?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
like
cool. I
like
discovered this
courses
last
and
year.
yeah. So I mean, that's kind of where my brain goes, is some sort of AR tag where there is a physical element and athleticism needed, but there's also this digital component to it that can dictate strategy, can possibly change an interactive arena. And yeah, I would love to see something like that, some sort of melding of the headsets and kind of the immersive tech needed to visualize a quick pace course with a drone and possibly AR and like some sort of a tag arena. So I would really be interested in seeing something like that where AR and digital manipulation could physically change an arena in
Oh,
some sort of
man.
capacity.
That would be sick. It kinda reminds me of there was this company before the pandemic called The Void. I don't know if they
Mm.
still exist, but they were essentially using, like, escape rooms mixed with VR tech and, like, haptic feedback in
Oh wow.
bodysuits to, like, make these different levels, and you could, like, go around as a squad and fight zombies and dragons and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
It was pretty
Uh,
sick, yeah. So hopefully they
yeah.
make more stuff like that, and, I mean, it would be cool to see what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think you could do some fun stuff with that, and from a spectator standpoint, I know I would appreciate if there's different roles on the team that can be changing the arena as things are happening. And it also maybe is sort of like battle bots. You
Oh
know
yeah,
how there's like teams with a controller and they're sort of utilizing like a remote feed to change up the battlefield. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to see something like that.
that'd be sick. BattleBots was one of my favorite shows on G4 back in the
Yeah,
it was
so
sick.
good. The hammer, the sledge, and
It's
the axes and stuff.
so
Those are
cool.
crazy.
Um, so I wanted to kind of build off of that and ask, like, you know, as some of the games that even I'm working on nowadays, thinking about spectator mode or thinking about streaming is a consideration while we're playing the game. And so it's more of like a community aspect, even for single player experiences, because like what's it like to watch someone play this? In your experience, sort of like as a fan and also as a developer, like how has the gaming experience shifted from when you were playing Mario 3 back in the day to like the games you're playing nowadays? And what do you think are some of the challenges as a developer with that?
Yeah. Wow, a lot has changed. I would say, the social network sort of elements that take place during gameplay now, where even I guess maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, even it wasn't like you would be posting uh an amazing kill in Call of Duty, to whatever platform of choice you might want to do. But we built in social sharing tools on the platforms themselves and all the consoles, and it's just easy to sort of flaunt a gameplay moment than it was in the past. And I think you need to be cognizant of that and understand that the gameplay can be viral in just an instant, and that's a two-edged sword. So you have to be careful with and diligent in your testing to make sure you're not like building a meme farm of your game with some of these features. But yeah, I think being able to stream your screen. I love seeing the Switch 2's integration with webcams and different technology hardware to bring in your friends into a gameplay session. I think that's a great evolution that is gonna do well. And I don't think they're necessarily hiding the fact that there's performance knocks to some of those camera feeds. And I think that's healthy, that they're like, yeah, make it more social, make it more accessible, because gaming should bring people together. And I think having more single player experiences that um you just sort of do in a vacuum is is good. And I think you can build off of that. But I also feel like there's a hunger for creating more community around games, and like sharing in the experience with your friends. And um you know couch co-op is another thing I think that would be beneficial for the future, and in sort of game mode planning. But yeah, the fact that a lot of folks are playing with people across the world, uh, uh, I think bringing them together in more of a collective way and community sense is really going to be part of the future. So yeah, I would say that that's a big change, and sort of departure from some of the earlier games. And the expansiveness of games now is just incredible. And the amount of time that people spend on a particular game is kind of just leaps and bounds from what it was you know 10, 20 years ago. So I think as we also continue to take screen time away and put it into like phones and mobile platforms, developing around the big screen in the living room is going to be, I think, more important. And trying to bring value to people's experience in the game is going to be more and more important. And more replayability, um, and then sense of community too is going to be a big factor um, in that replayability. So, um, Yeah, a lot of changes, and graphic fidelity, audio fidelity, all the technical sides that have just, you know, evolved leaps and bounds since have been incredible. Um, but yeah, I would absolutely love to see more community brought in to gaming, and more accessibility, more ways to aggregate my friends together and share the experience, even if they aren't even playing the same game, which I think is pretty cool, and something that Nintendo is sort of tackling head on at this moment with some of their hardware advancements. So yeah.
I'm excited that the Switch 2 is integrating that. I mean, I remember back in the day, it's like if you didn't have a multi-tap and you weren't in the same room, you were not
Yeah,
playing together.
nope.
That was it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You needed a LAN party or something, like,
Everybody's bringing their desktop. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yep. It's crazy how things have progressed.
I mean, yeah, like it's literally video game history is happening right before our eyes, which is really exciting. It makes me wish that we had a museum of video game history, maybe someday.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, heck
like
yeah.
and subscribe to the podcast, and we'll make a
Yeah.
museum.
Yeah.
But
Start the GoFundMe.
I did want to just bring it back around and talk a little bit more about you and your journey with the last few minutes here. So after you spent your time at Microsoft, uh, do you think do you think there was a shift in your career or in your knowledge that you were gaining through your experience that helps you get to the point where you are now? Or what do you think kind of led you on your journey to where you are now?
Yeah, so after Microsoft, in 2019, I went to Wizards of the Coast, and that's where I met you, and, we, with Wizards of the Coast, I was a senior technology producer there, for 3.5 years, and I was able to affect change in a lot of different ways that I hadn't previously. Also just, I think, culture-wise, um, Wizards of the Coast is extremely transparent and very open with things like budgets and, contextualized information for empowering people, and that was just a great kind of reality to step into, and I was able to work with a lot of internal and external stakeholders to bring about cool integrations that we hadn't seen in the past. Cardboard Live doing an over the top uh, player Twitch extension to bring deck lists to life that, especially during COVID,
Yeah.
working with the Spell Table team on making webcams accessible for, reading magic cards on a physical table and, digitizing them on the website, and um yeah, working with tournament organizers like Matcherino, and being able to integrate all of the complexity and long legacy of data from, 30 plus years of Magic history and 40,000 plus individual playing cards really expanded my mind in a lot of different areas around tech and data sets, databases, integration pathways, APIs, um, just a heck of a lot of different areas, including automation and typesetting work, and working with technical artists on programmatically changing the way we used InDesign for advanced typesetting, and so semi-automating some of that work and saving a lot of time for people's daily tasks. And it was just one of those places that if you had the initiative to go do a thing and you had the business case to support it, you could uh, articulate it, you could get it in front of the right people and could go do it. And that was wonderful to be able to really expand my skill set and, work with new tools and be able to establish interesting relationships, both internally and externally, to promote the brand and bolster esports, bolster competitive experiences, and cool web features like the magic.gg website, integrating a full net decking cycle between the arena client and the web was huge because people want to play a quality deck, and if you have the decks that all the data from your competitive play on the client side, how do we share that out, and then how do we get it back into the actual client? And creating that full cycle was like a moment that I was really really happy about, that we were able to integrate with Magic GG, and um, be able to get users that ability to find a winning deck and then instantly have it downloaded into Arena. So yeah, a lot of cool areas, and really really uh, valued my time there as well. So yeah, expansion every single direction, I would say. Um,
That was pretty amazing. I will second that for sure. I definitely had a good time there, and there are a lot of people there who are willing to give you the opportunity to grow especially if you're willing to take it. So yeah,
yeah,
it was a great place to work.
yeah, yeah. That was a fantastic time there.
Well, speaking of fantastic time, I've had a fantastic time catching up with you, Rob, and this
Yeah,
was so
likewise.
much fun. Before we get out of here, though, I wanted to ask if people wanted to find you online and catch up with you, follow what you're working on, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn at Rob Bowen Media. I own the website robbowen.com, and I'm on Instagram at Rob Bowen Seattle. So yeah, looking forward to any connections, both new and old, that people want to reach out on. Yeah, would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Be sure to reach out to Rob. He's so awesome. And I'm so happy that you're here. We got to catch up. Thank you all so
Yeah,
much for listening. I've been Carmen Askernes. You can find me online at Carmen Askernes on Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can also find me on Substack at The Save Point. I'd love for you to join our colorful community. If you're watching on a video platform, be sure to like and subscribe for more episodes like this one. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review. It goes a long way in support of the show. And tell me what you thought and who you'd like to see as a future guest in the comments and on socials. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.